Welcome back to That Handicapping Show. I'm Claire Novak, joined once again by Tom LaMarra. And today we're going to take a look at two races. The Delaware Handicap, $750,000 for the older ladies, going 1.25 miles at Delaware Park. And of course that race featuring Princess of Sylmar. And then we'll take a look at the Parx Dash, the turf sprint with Ben's Cat, looking for his defense there. So Tom, first of all, talking about the Delaware Handicap, you and I were talking before the show, not a whole lot of pace in there, and does that help or hurt Princess of Sylmar, who really should be pretty fine in here?
That's a good question, because when you look at the race on paper, nobody really likes to run on the front end at all, and quite frankly, a lot of them would rather not even run close to the pace early, which is very interesting. Actually, I think in the long run this may actually help the favorite, because she's been very close up to quick paces before. She drew outside, and of course it's a very long run into the first turn in the 1.25 mile race, and I think she'll be a lot closer than she has been. Mm-hmm. Maybe look at like a race like the Alabama, which was 1.25 miles when she was no worse than fourth and made her move and won rather easily. I think it's her race to win.
Now, of course, she's coming off that runner-up finish in the Ogden Phipps, and that was Close Hatches who took that with more of those speed tactics that we're talking about. And she did make a really good run at the leader, but could not quite get to her. Close Hatches with a pretty determined win there at Belmont on, when was that? I was there, June 7th.
June 7th.
Now, of course, that was her first step back up into Grade 1 competition. She came back and won minor stakes at Belmont on April 6th. So this is kind of her chance in the Delaware Handicap, her second Grade 1 start of the year, her chance to have kind of gotten a race underneath her that did probably tighten her up a little bit. And, just looking at her past form and the 4-race win streak in Grade 1 stakes last year, compared to what these others have done, she should be pretty okay to roll in here. Now, if we're going to talk about horses underneath, one horse that I've been a fan of for a while is Flashy American. And I do like her in this spot. She comes off the runner-up finish in the Fleur de Lis Handicap to another horse who's in here, Molly Morgan, who she's a hard-trying mare. She's turned in some handy stakes wins, lower-level stakes. She won the 60 Sales, which is a Grade 3 at Hawthorne. And so I would look at her to, as far as class and form go, I would expect her to finish somewhere on the board. So I'm going to put her underneath. Anybody else you're looking at?
Molly Morgan is really kind of an interesting horse in this race, and it may look on paper like her win in the Fleur de Lis just kind of came out of nowhere, but actually in her previous start, she ran second in the Grade 1 La Troyenne at Churchill Downs, and she had won at Churchill Downs in the past, but it appears that her last 2 races were much better than her previous races in general. So, maybe she's just in really good form. Outside of Princess of Sylmar, none of these mares have been 1.25 miles. Molly Morgan is by Go Sapper out of a Distorted Humor mare, and I think they can all handle it. It's just a matter of who may be more efficient at it. I think she may be one of them.
Alrighty, and I'm going to just take a look at the horse who won the local prep here, Gamay Noir, and I'll toss her in there as well. So let's move on to Parx, where the defending champ Ben's Cat, and actually tight end Touchdown, who ran second to him in this race last year, they'll get a chance at a rematch. And I know you and I are both going to pick against Ben's Cat in this race. He comes off that, fourth? Yeah, at Belmont in the Grade 3 last time. So you're not going to go with him. I'm not going to go with him. Who you got?
Well, I'm not going to pick him to win, but clearly, his record at Parx is really, really good. And this is a 5-furlong turf race, which he really excels at. I like Storm of the Century here. He did lose his last race to tight end Touchdown at Penn National in the Governor's Cup, but he was kind of stuck inside, and he shot through along the rail. He's also 2 for 2 at Parx. He did win the Grade 3 Turf Monster last year at 28-1. I just think that he might be somewhat off the early pace. I mean, this race is loaded with speed. take your pick in this race. It's an excellent betting race. Even Ben's Cat, he may be 5-2 in this race, which I think is a good price. It's a fair price. I think Storm of the Century will be higher and offer some value.
Alrighty, well, taking my pick, I'm going to go with Marchman, who was runner-up in the same race that Ben's Cat came out of. This horse won the turf sprint at Churchill. He won the Shakertown at Keeneland, did so handily each time. Actually, in the Shakertown, he won by a neck, but in the Churchill race, he had a little bit of a wider margin. I do like him for Brett Calhoun, and then I'm going to go with tight end touchdown to run second again. I think he's a handy sort. He ran very well in the Breeders' Cup and kind of surprised everybody there when he dead heated for second. He came back at Gulfstream and just kind of threw in a clunker, and they didn't ever really say what bothered him. They said, maybe he didn't like the Gulfstream Park turf. So if he didn't like the Gulfstream Park turf, he was off from February until May because he didn't like it. Wow. So who knows exactly what the real reason is there, but the horse is back. He did win nicely in the Governor's Cup, and I'll take a look at him as well. And then Ben's Cat, really the point is just picking against Ben's Cat, because if you just went with the obvious choice, you would pick Ben's Cat. He's won this race the past 2 years in a row. He's running in it for the 4th time. And I think really, he's such a classy, hard-knocking horse that you have to root for him even if you don't pick for him.
Yeah, and plus he also has the right running style in this race,
Absolutely.
I think. So we'll see what happens. Very, very good race. I don't know if it's a full field. I guess 12 would be a full field at 5 furlongs, but there are 10 horses in here, so it's a nice race.
Good betting races. Oh, actually over the weekend, some good races. Also at Arlington, the Million Preview Day. So get a chance to check out our previews on bloodhorse.com of that. And of course, as always, thanks to Briss for the PPs. For Tom, I'm Claire. Thank you for watching the Handicapping Show.